Hi, and welcome to ThePrint. My name is Karanjeet Kaur, and I'm a writer and an editor. Let's talk today about Appetite, a new anthology of Goan writing. Everyone who comes to Goa is hungry for something. You could be a young tourist looking for release and a chance to shake out your weary bones before heading back to the city's hustle. Or you could be a middle-aged city slicker looking at Goa to take the reek of dodginess off your funds in the form of a third home with minimal days on Airbnb. Or you could be a corporate lifer who has had enough of our maximum cities, seeking a quiet place to raise your kids and maybe dabble in a cafe or two. Appetite, a new anthology of 36 stories, poems, essays, and even a graphic piece, is interested in capturing what happens to a place when everyone's busy wanting it. Published by Penguin Random House earlier this year, and edited by Shivranjana Rathore and Tino, the collection brings together original pieces from members of the Goa Writers Group. This is a community of over 100 writers based in the state or connected to it by ancestry. The contributors span generations. This includes Gyanpith Award winner Damodar Mauzo and a 100-year-old American writer and journalist Victor Rangel Ribeiro, the oldest member of the group. There are also emerging voices publishing for the first time. Despite the title's straightforward suggestion, not a single entry is about food. The appetite that the anthology is interested in is for Goa itself, for its land, for belonging, for reinvention, and for desire. Two of the collection's entries that address this directly work as companion pieces. Seema Mustafa's essay, The Wannabe Colonizers or Some Such, is a personal account of moving to Goa from Delhi. Mustafa at first wrestles with, and later slowly comes to terms with the idea of being an outsider, and that Goans have a very specific reason for disliking what people like her represent, and that those reasons have nothing to do with her personally. Mustafa, a veteran journalist who has covered conflict zones, writes about deploying those same instincts in her adopted state, chatting up everyone from the shopkeeper to the taxi driver, trying to understand the resentment. What she finds is a place living two lives. The first is the one that Goans lead. The second is the one that visitors have built on top of it, complete with soaring real estate prices, restaurants that open in weeks and shut in months, and a vulgar appetite for land and money that the locals are forced to watch from the outside. She writes, "You can recognize the outsiders from a mile off. The same fake smiles, the talk about real estate and money, the conversation around new elite food places with a mention, in passing of course, about the restaurant owner by his first name to impress the audience." This is the milieu that Michelle Bambawale brings alive in her satirical short story, The Real Housewives of Asagao. Her characters are a group of wealthy women, congregating around wine and conversations circling through property prices, new restaurants, which villages are over and which are still worth buying into. In these archetypes, there is no curiosity about what was there before them, no Goan friends, no engagement with the Gram Sabha, and certainly no hand-wringing over the impact that they have on Goa. Bambawale, who is originally Goan but grew up in Pune, settled in her ancestral village of Sioli after living in different cities around the world. She said that many people express their identity through a beautiful house, but owning a house in Goa is also the next thing you do after getting an expensive car. Recalling her years in Delhi, Bambawale said that people would often become interested in talking to her once they heard that she had a house in Goa, not realizing that she was Goan herself. She told me, "They will ask you things like, 'Oh, where did you pick up this place?' Like I'd bought a piece of jewelry." In the same breath, these people will tell you that Asagao and Sioli are just gone. Bambawale's main grouse, and that of several Goans, is the cluelessness with which house owners will talk about the sizes of their houses or pools, but have no sense of what life here actually entails. She said, "We are still a village with many basic issues like sewage, water, and waste management. I keep hearing things like, 'Don't worry, we have tanker water,' not understanding that water is a shared resource. It's this idea that my money can buy anything and I can leave whenever things get difficult. But if you are from here, you have nowhere else to go." The housewives in Bambawale's story are simultaneously oblivious and overfamiliar. But the anthology is too smart to suggest that consumption is only the preserve of the rich and the tasteless. There is a subtler, funnier dynamic at work in Goa, which anyone who has spent time here will recognize. Every new wave migrant to the state is doing Goa wrong, according to older migrants. The transplant from 5 to 10 years ago now holds forth about the soul of the place and speaks with genuine anguish about what Goa is becoming. They can tell you exactly when things started to go wrong, and they reserve their talents for the people who showed up 2 years after them. A few months ago, at a popular Panjim cafe, I overheard a group of older women sincerely rant about how the whole place was overrun by bloody tourists and new settlers, all in Punjabi. In this hierarchy of belonging by consumption, each rung gets to look down upon at the one below. Appetite's co-editor, Shivranjana Rathore, was candid about this. I had to be extra careful given my own position, she told me. Rathore grew up in Jaipur, studied and worked across different Indian cities, and has now lived in Goa for almost a decade. The anthology's original impulse, she said, was around food and culture, a certain consumptive angle that seemed to fit Goa naturally, she told me. But by the time we began editing in 2024, the pace and saturation of consumption had become exponential. It was very clear that many people didn't want to think of food and culture in a flat, superficial way alone. So the editors opened the theme up to encapsulate every other kind of appetite. Some of the entries in the anthology turn inward, toward the more private hungers that Goa seems to invite. Alicia Souza's very lively essay, I'll Do It My Way, treads familiar ground of Goan aunties and uncles playing matchmakers. She compares it to the well-rehearsed dance of buying the best fish at the market. Just like the wares on display, your love life is a community project, whether you like it or not. Meanwhile, Pragya Bhagat's An Appetite for Love, Dating in North Goa, covers the same territory from the other side. Goa is a tiny playground for a variety of young folks in all their swiping, ghosting, curated glory, encompassing people who are either passing through or have moved to the state and are trying to find connection in a place that they don't fully belong to yet. So many of them rue the fact that they keep running into the same people everywhere. A genuine problem of scarcity you'd never experience in a metro with its endless swipeability. As one writer in the essay exclaims, Goa is incestuous as F. Read side by side, the essay suggests that appetite extends beyond, into loneliness. The hunger is also about wanting to be known and witnessed, about the distance between the life you came here to build and the one you're actually living. Which brings us to a question that several of us who live here grapple with. Is there a version of belonging to Goa that is not predicated on consumption and extraction? Rathore was careful about this. There is a visible, structurally powerful and/or extractive outsider in Goa, she said, the one with money and access. But there is also a subtle pressure to perform the model outsider. I hold my mind from going there, she told me, because it can very easily feed into the model minority complex, which is its own vicious cycle within the same structures of exploitation. It is to the anthology's credit that it does not try to resolve this. Appetite does not offer you a guide to being in Goa correctly. Instead, it offers you some discomfort and trusts you to sit with it.